Hello, friends. Welcome to Code Heaven. So today we will be start like starting the React tutorials for beginners, part two. So we'll be continuing from where we have left last time. So let's see what we have made since last time. So this is our project. I've opened this in Visual Studio Code. Let's npm start this project. It's starting up. Yeah. So, hmm. So we made this last time. Let's add test to. Okay. So it's working till here. So it looks like we'll also need edit and delete button here. Edit, delete, and I think we'll also need a completed button here. Edit, completed, and delete button. Okay, so let's do that today. Mhm. Stop this. So to-do list, so we have this to-do list component. We will list our to-dos, to-do component. Here. So this will be the list of our to-do components. So I think we'll need uh, we'll need our delete edit button. It's somewhere here. So for that, let's install some icons. So we've got a package called React icons. So we can use those to display the icons for like edit, delete, etc. So let's install that first. So we're gonna need React icons. So let's install npm install React dash icons. Okay, looks like it's installed. Let's check React icons. Okay, it's over here. So after installing this, let's go to our to-do list. Okay, let's go to to-do. And in to-do, oh, we'll need to import import. So one is called FAED ID FAED from React dash icons dash FA. So this one is for edit, and let's also look for FA res press for delete press up. Yes, this one. And there's another FA to make a check box, check icon. So we need FA check double. Okay, let's use this one. After that, mm, Okay, so after that, let's make so these are lists. So it's list. Inside this list, let's make span, and inside this span, let's put this FA check double, and inside here, let's put the color as green for check double, and unclick. What we want is an anonymous function. So we'll call a method called set to complete. And when we set to complete, yeah, this task name. So whatever the task that came as props here, we'll pass this task. But this set to complete will pass this as a function from the props. We'll call this function. We'll make this function in its parent component into the list, and we'll set the state in here in this set tasks. So yeah, we'll mark this as completed somewhere in here. So yeah, this one is done. Let's see how it's coming up. It's loading. Okay, let's put this. Okay, as you can see, this checkbox has come up here, and when we click this one, there should be we'll mark this as checked, but currently it's coming too tight, so we'll make this one. So we'll have to change the CSS here. So we'll do that later. Let's first add our other buttons like FA edit as well. FA edit, FA edit. Let's put this color as let's suppose orange. And on click, we will on click. So we'll need to take the single task first. So make a single task function and pass this function here. And we'll make this function inside our parent component later. So let's at first, so let's get a delete one as well. Class. Class, let's put color as red. And on click, so we make a delete task. Let's delete to it's not, let's make this into India as well. Delete to do inside of task, whatever. So I'm thinking instead of this task to do, Okay, it's fine. Task is fine as well. And click. But here let's just send the ID dot ID will be task by ID. So let's go to parent component, and here let's make some function. So our add task is already done. So we'll make function called set task, set to complete. Let's go here. Let's copy this one so that we don't make typos, error. So from set to complete is equal to async. Let's make this async, and task, and inside here what we're gonna do is when so um, let's complete this method set to complete, but we can see these compiler errors like it's single to do, delete to do. So at first let's only focus on set to complete. So let's comment these out for now. So this error compiler will go away. And so still comment, okay. Warning, error in TS line completed in 22JS line 8. Where is this? 22JS and to-do list 32. So okay, let me just stop this and run it once again. Okay, now it says line 8 in 22JS line 8 completed is not defined. Completed is not defined. So I think have okay, task that this one. I'm having this one by mistake. Let's we don't need to remove this one as well. Control Z. What we need to do is we need to add these as props in here. This one also. Okay. Name it assign. Okay. This one name. Okay. Let's not use that at the moment. Handle input into handle input. We have handle input here. We got handle input. Where is our handle input? What happened to our handle? Did I mistakenly delete this function? Oops. Okay. I think I have deleted that function by mistake. So, yeah, let me add that once again. Okay, now that's done. So let's complete our set to incomplete. So in set complete, we need an ID which should come from here. So whenever we click this check button, instead of task, we'll actually pass in the index. This index will come from here as props. That means we need to send that index from here as well. Key index, we need to send this index as props as well. So index, this key index, this key will not go as props, otherwise we could use this one as well. So this key is only for this React render function to tell this as a unique index. But to pass this index, we can send this by as a props by this index. Okay. So this index will come here as props, and we will send this index in the set to complete function. And set to complex function is over here. That index will come here as an ID. And now what we have to do is we'll have to set the state of this specific ID only in set state function. So let's make a new state, const new state is equal to task dot. So in this state function, we cannot manipulate the ID. We cannot update the ID at the specific index. So we'll have to copy all the arrays first, and then we can update that specific index, and then we'll have to uh, set state the whole new array to the whole new copy of the previous array. So we can do like that. For that, let's use our map function. Let's iterate through map, and let's take an object. Let's iterate through these tasks, which is a state, and then if let's check the index. If tasks that index of this object, this object will ID. If it matches, then only we're going to update the object. So let's use the spread operator to bring in all the properties of the object, and then let's update only this completed part as true. And now, if it doesn't match, then we'll just return the object. Okay. And then we'll have to like set state, set task. We have to add this new state in our task state. So set tasks and new state. And then let's also use okay. Let's empty the form data. Okay. So this should work now. let's add a new test. Let's say test one. Okay, so these icons are coming. We need to add this. We need to work on the CSS. Test two, add. Test three, add. Now let's try to complete this test two. Okay, so we'll have to change something in this, in like we'll have to make this as completed. So to mark this as completed, let's use an on like something like there is a CSS called task through, line through. I think it's line through. Let's use that to mark this as it's completed. So if you go to task through, yeah, over here, if task, let's check if the Bootstrap has that class, feature class, Bootstrap line through, Bootstrap CSS line through. Okay. Yeah, something like this. Take class, take person line through. Okay, so if we use this class, then okay, it will go. So let's say now we don't need this one because we will have to make this dynamic. And let's say if class start complicate, then we use this one. So if the task is completed, we'll use this CSS. We need this previous CSS as well. But if okay, so we need this both. But if it's not success, then we will just use the previous CSS only. Okay. So let's see how it's coming up. Okay, now test two is completed, so it's crossed here. Line through is coming. So let's do the same for test three. Okay, it's coming. For test one, yeah, it's coming as expected. So our complete is working. Now let's work on edit and delete as well. So now let's work on edit. So whenever we press on this edit button, it will call this get single to do from this to-do list component. So let's make that now. Const yo. It's going to async id and what is expecting a task from here. And let's just set form data. So we'll set form data task. So whichever task we click, so that should come into the input field so we can edit it. Task name and completed. Let's make this as false. And then we'll need to make a task ID. So let's make a new state. task ID to capture each task ID set task ID use state task ID set task ID use state. And now we'll set this ID set task ID and then we'll task that what we need is the index of this task. So uh, index task. So let's use the same one. The task dot index of this task. This should be set as task ID, and we'll also need to make this as editable. So we need to change this button as an update button instead of add button that was previously done. So for that, let's make um, let's make a new state. And okay, let's use state set go use let's use this state snippet and let's say it as is editing set is editing is let's make this capital. By default, let's say this as false. Here, let's say set is editing is equal to so this time. So we'll be editing this one. So let's and then we need to send this function as props. Okay, now let's since the props are 2 million, let's break this like this. It's equal to this. Now, after we get this one, okay, now this our state is changed to editing. So after this, our whatever the name is in the input field, for example, whatever. So let's type this. So this text will come up in here. If you use this one, yeah. And now this add button, this should be changed into update button. Let's do that. If so, let's go to form, and if where is this button? Okay. So I think is editing will have to send is editing as props in here. Is is the idea in editing, and then in here, which is this is editing, then add else will be updated. Okay. So now that we have added this update, let's see how our button is looking. So save this. Okay, so now it's showing as update by default. If you refresh this, it's showing as update. That means if it's editing, we need to do update, not add. So let's cut this and paste this in here and write add in here. So yeah, now it's working. It should be add by default. Only if you press editing, like when we add this, and only if you press this edit, this should change as edit. So, but we need to send this as props to the list. So we need to send this is editing state in here. Is editing, oops, is editing is equal to is editing. Okay. Now, whenever we place, okay, it's already coming as is date. So for test, instead of test, we can make this as, let's make this as test one and update. Okay. Now, when I press update, it's coming as test one, but it's adding a new one, new list, new row. We don't want this to happen. We want to update in the same row. So let's change our code to modify that change. Let's see which method it's calling when we press edit. If edit is calling this class get single to do, it's going to get single to do. Okay. So when we press get single to do, its setting is editing is true. So whenever is editing is true, that button changes to update instead of add. So it's set from the other set task ID is also, but we are not adding anything. So it looks like so yeah, so only the text here has changed to update from add, but when this form is clicked, it's still using that add button. When you click that add button, so we need to change that. So whenever we press this form, to do form, add task. Let's go to do form. Where is our form? Form. On submit, it's add task. So okay, we'll need to make a condition here. If it's is editing, we need to change it to if it's we need to change to a new method called update task. Okay, so let's copy this and bring it in here, which is editing. Then we need to bring called update task as the same as before, add task. But we need to send this up update task method as props from to-do list. Now let's go to to-do list and make this update task. So let's paste this part here. Let's copy this code and copy this, and instead of add task, this as update task. Okay, the values would be same. Set task. So set from that. Then set task, we'll need to modify this part. So currently this part, what it does is it will add a new row, but we don't want to add a new row. We need to update that existing row. So we'll need to do the same thing that we did in set to complete, just like this one. Okay, let's copy this code and add it in here. Okay, if so, from from the current existing list, it will map it will iterate through the loop and check for an ID. So, but before ID was coming from here, but now what we have to do is, let's see, we'll have the send the ID same like the way. So instead of event, let's bring ID in here. So it's saying ID is not defined. So yeah, currently this ID is not defined. Says ID not defined at line 32. Oops, where did I change that? It's not in handle. Okay, this is a mistake. The ID instead of E, let's make this ID in here. 927, 927 E. Okay, let's remove this for now. Okay, where is this name coming? It's coming from form data. So form data, whenever we press the submit button, it sets the form data and the name is coming from there. Yeah, so this is correct. And in update task, let's go to here. Get single to do the task. So here we can't change pass the index ID from here after task. So we need to do this a bit differently. But when we click that edit button, we are setting the task ID. Yeah, so we get the task ID in from the set task ID. Yeah, so this task ID is the index of that ID. So we need to take this task ID. So here, let's undo this, and yeah, this is fine. Event.prevent is fine. So here, instead of this ID, we need to use task ID. Okay. If this task ID matches uh, with this row, then we mark this as okay. This time we won't just make this completed true because we are not setting this as completed true. We are using that form data. Okay, our form data. So whenever there is change in form, this form data would get triggered and name would change in here. So this name, we need to change this name. So instead of completed, set to completed and update task. If for name, we put name in this index where there is key name. We'll put this name from the form data. The same form data is set by this handle input method. So this should work now, but we need to send this update task as props and then set tasks. Okay, but first let's set form data. Okay, we don't need set tasks now, and set tasks. Just set tasks. In this one, set task new state. And then set form data to null. Okay, now let's pass this as props. In the okay, add task. Now we need to sing update task as well. Oops. Okay, now let's test this. Now if you press this edit button, okay, it's coming as test one. Now let's make this test two and update. Okay, it's now updating to test two. Let's update test as test one. Okay, it's working. Now let's add some few tasks. Oops. Here is some listed test for. Okay. Oh, it's still updating. It's still updating the same instance. What's happening here? Okay, so this at the moment, if I click this one, so the same instance, this row is being set in the state. So we need to change that. Okay, so even if I add new, yeah, so the same test one is getting updated, because the same row is still in this state. So we need to clear that from state, and we need to, as soon as we update, we need to revert this back to add. So let's change that part now. So we need to make the set existing is equal to false actually. Let's copy this part. Set to complete. Okay. Then set is everything is false. Once it becomes false, yeah, if it becomes false, it will again start this add task function, and this text will also change to add. So now if we add a new test, so test one is not in the list, so let's refresh this and start new. So test one, let's add test two, test three, test four. Now let's update test four. Let's make it as test five. Okay, now now it's changed to add. Hopefully this method is also changed to add. So if I add new test 6, should not update this test 5, it should add a new list. Test 6, okay, now it's working. So once we added this, he said everything is all false, it's working as it should. Okay. Now this editing part is done, completed part is also done. Whenever we press the complete part, this underline is showing. Now we need to use this delete function as well. And let's do that now. So whenever we press this delete button here, delete to do, we're sending a task. Instead of sending tasks, let's send this index, just like in this set to complete. And here let's make a new method called delete task. Let's see. Okay. So let's copy this whole method, and instead of this let's press Windows V and use this delete to do, and in here let's bring ID. So now let's remove this preventive file. So we don't need this whole part as well. Let's delete this. Let's delete up to here. And what we will be doing is set from data. Yes, we don't need this part as well. I think we'll need this set task. Okay. So we'll need to do the same thing over here as well. We'll need to bring this over here. And yeah, let's do this ID. If index matches this, then we'll need to remove this from this index, from this task.pop. I think we can, okay. So we can also remove by index in this. We don't need to iterate this whole. Let's not use this map function. What we need is stocks. Where should we? So normally what we do is whenever we need to uh, delete an item from array, we would do something like task dot slice your index. Instead of index, it could be id in our case and one. So this would remove item from an array. But since our array is it's in state, right? So in state directly we cannot directly like mutate this state. We cannot directly manipulate this state. So instead of this one, so we need to set a new state. We need to bring the whole array from this state, and then we need to manipulate that state, change that array, and then we need to set a new state. So that's how the state works. We cannot do this in our case. So to solve this issue, what we'll have to do is we'll need to filter the array without this index, without this id, and then and we'll add this new filtered array to this state. So we'll just bring the array without this id. So we're going to do that. The new, let's say, let new task is equal to task dot filter, let's say object plus that task dot index of it's the same way that we have done in here. Index of this object. If index of this object, okay, instead of is equal to, we'll now use not is equal to with id. Okay, so only those tasks where this without this index would come in here, and we'll set all those arrays to the task set task state, and then we'll need to send this method via props in this to-do component. Okay, that's done. So in this to-do component, this delete to-do. Yeah, this method get calls whenever we press this icon. Okay. Now let's see if it's working. Now, okay, let's delete this test one. Okay, it's deleting. Let's try deleting test 5. It's deleting, and deleting. Let's add new test 1. Okay, let's adding test 2, adding set complete, test edit, test, let's make it test 3. It's editing and delete. Okay, looks like our to-do list is complete. Now what we need to do is just uh, align these. Let's work on the CSS now. Now let's see what kind of CSS we can use in here. So that is span, let's list, and let's add some space in between here. So this is the specified content space around space between. Space evenly. Start. I think space evenly. We can use either space between. You know what, let's use space between. And then, yeah, this one looks good. And we also need, instead of container, that's fluid. Let's just use container. Okay, yeah, this one looks better. Let's see what else we can do. It's looking better, right? And in here also, instead of this add, what we can do is call auto, from row, class row. Why is this taking too many? What if I do this row here? Okay, it becomes like that. Plus, so we will need this row class here. Oops. IOW row. And what if we put justify content, just like in here, space between. It doesn't work in here. Okay, what about in here? Okay, it works like this. Oh, space even, okay, space between. Yeah, so it's working. Now it's looking better. For my to-do list, what we can do is it's coming in center, which I don't like. Let's do, maybe we play a class in here. It's going to, that's that. We have such class? No. Text left is not working. Let's try text start. Okay, now it's on. So, is this looking better than before? Not sure. Font size. Let's put some margin in there. Let's say margin bottom to. Oops. Margin is not working. MB2. Okay. There's some margin here, but that's negligible. Let's put 5. Okay, now it's working. Okay, it's better than before. Use container. Let's see if we can change the color. What if you put a background color? Background. Let's see. Okay. Oops. This one seems nice. What about black? Blue. Purple. Okay. Center. You like this color, guys? No. Chocolate. This one. No. Azure. This one looks good, but it's only coming up to here. What about body? Let's see how we can bring this background color. This body div ID is equal to root. This should have come. Let's add a new. Okay. It keeps on increasing. The body is also only selecting this part, HTML also. So what? Let's not use this background for now. Let's just work on this justify content. So where did we add justify content? Okay, actually it was in list. Okay, we did that in list, right? And justify content. Let's see, instead of inline class, no, let's use inline class as well. Let's learn how we can use inline class in React. Where is the list? List to do the list in here. Currently, we are just using this class. By content space between. So we are going to use this. And before that, uh, in this main div, instead of container fluid, let's use only container. Where is our main class? Is it in app? Yeah. Container. Oh, I think this is text center. We don't need this text center here. Let's remove this part here. I think this by to-do list was coming at center because of that text center. But we do need this margin part. Let's use margin 5. Where was that? Where is that? H1. It's in here. Yeah, here. Style is equal to margin. No, actually it's not style. So we can just use Bootstrap class name, margin button, that's fine. It's working. And justify content. And style to do. We need a justify content here. So where we can use style. This is style here. Style is going to justify what was the name, justify content space between justify content review. We need one more bracket in here. Justify as content space probably it's file content space. It's, this doesn't work. Probably that's scam case as well. It's not defined, so it's not like that. So it's not. So actually, it should be dash, but there should be quote in between them, yeah, like this. Now it's working. Just high content, but these are too tight. We'll work on this as well. First, let's work on this one. That's in to-do list, to-do form, inside to-do form. No, class is to Let's use style, justify content, space, text. Okay, it's working, but I want to increase the length of this input field as well. All auto, all auto. But if I use call as 9, call as 10, call as 12. So it looks like I need call as 11. Yeah, this much is fine. Call as 11 it is. Say a call auto, we use call as 11. Okay. Mm, let's put, let's work on this one as well. So in its span, what if you put just 5 content here as a style, equal to justify just content, space test, between. Is it working? Looks like it's not working. Span, justify content. Let's see any of these will work. Since it's in span, it's not working. What if I convert the span into div and enable this one? Oops, it doesn't work. So what we need to do is instead of, since the span is this whole part, right? we need to put some margin in these individual items. So if you put margin like, let's say, margin dash left is equal to 6 pixel, you see, the margin is coming up there. So let's do that. Let's go to individual item to do, yeah. Let's put some CSS in it. Style, margin, left, 27 pixel. And it should be inside the code. Okay. Let's copy this whole part and put it in here and here as well. Now it's working. And apart from that, let's also make this as a cursor as well. So whenever we hover, it should come as the hand icon should come here. So inline star. After this, let's also make um, make another call cursor would be uh, over. I think it's over. Cursor. It should be on over, something like that. Is coming now. Oops. So what we have decided is we will add a class name instead of this style called to do icons, and we'll make a class. Let's add a class. Let's add a CSS inside here. Let's call this to.css, and yeah, let's add style like this to do icons margin left, and we'll hover on this class with cursor pointer. But we'll need to import this class. Let's import to do oops, slash to form to do .css. To do .css. Okay, it says part about dot slash to do form to do list. Well, that's fine. Let's see now. Let's hard reset. Just enter select command. And this it looks like this margin is coming somewhere in here. Was left same picture. Oh, it's coming from that style, line style. But this class, two icons. Style is not getting rendered. So icon, it's still not coming. Let's see what's going on. Let's go to 2d.css. It's already included. No, oh, I think I forgot to put this dot here. The dot means class. If it's an ID, we put hash like this, but since it's class, so we need to put dot. Now let's see. Okay, now it's working. Yeah, it's hovering. That means it's working. Now we'll need to put the same class above as well in here. So in this way, we can put a custom class with like this in this way. Now it should be hovering. Oh, it's hovering now. It's marked. Edit, enter, yeah, and delete. It's working as expected. So guys, now it's working. Our to-do task is also working good. Test, test two. No, it's working as expected. So, so guys, in this video, let's do it this much. And on next video, I'm thinking of making a REST API call using an Airtable database. So stay tuned for the next video. If you have any questions, do comment and don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon as well to get my latest video update. Okay, don't forget to subscribe. This much for today. Thank you guys. Thank you for staying tuned with my videos.